Okay, dude. Yeah,
y'all need to post the Jimmy Johnson blowing up at the Brickyard 400.
Yeah, the Brickyard. Yeah. Hey, anyone remember this? How cool was that? Like,
y'all should post that.
I will do that tomorrow.
Yeah, do that tomorrow. Let's see. Bet y'all can get like 500 likes on that thing.
Anybody remember this?
I'll be 3 of them.
Thank you, Peyton. I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. I commented 3 times on the post. I said yes, maybe, and no. I want to cover all the bases on whether he's going to get replaced, because I really just want to tell y'all to go to hell. This is stupid.
Well, the other thing too, and I'll say this tonight or tomorrow, whatever. It's Hendrick's MO to keep your replacement close by. That's happened a number of times. You know, like if it was anything else, I'd say that doesn't make sense. But it's like that's happened at least twice with 2 high-profile drivers. So, anyway.
Also, if we want to keep it a bean here, you have the worst driver in your foursome, who also had a major concussion, followed that up with a major back injury, and you think they don't have a line of succession ready just in case? Like, let's be honest, this workhorse who's been out there 36 weeks a year. Like, I just think it's so funny to me how, like, for some reason, Alex Bowman is above reproach. Like, okay.
I will say this: if you're going to compare stats for stats, you do need to like unweight them a bit, because Bowman spent a lot of time in shit equipment back when he was in that 7 car, and wasn't he like in the 23 when it was shit too? Like BK racing?
He was in the 23.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I forget who it was.
You have to unweight some of that if you're going to like compare him. Like, I saw someone play him to Blaney, which if you probably
that's what I was just about to say. That's horseshit. I'm sorry.
Good equipment, Bowman and good equipment.
I posted the full-time HMS years versus the Blaney years. I think that's as fair as you can get, and Blaney still clears him by every metric that matters. It's like, yes, he had 1 good year where he was better and he got 4 wins. That's half of his career's winnings to this point. Like, let's stop. Like, yes, if you want to say winning a championship doesn't matter in this year, okay, that's fine. But Blaney is still a week in and week out better driver than him, and that's not an insult. Blaney's a top 12 car in the field. Like, I was like, dude, you're getting mad that I'm saying that your driver isn't a top 10 driver. Like, that's fine. Like, you can tell me Bubba's not a top 10 driver. Like, that's fine. I'm not saying he's fucking Corey LaJoy over here, but like, this idea that like just because you like him means he's on equal level with the literal defending champion isn't accurate. So that's what I said. Like, I just showed the numbers and I just kept it to the full-time years after that. But I'm like, okay, cool. I'm showing both the full-time years. Show me the years that are better. You've got 1, maybe 2.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, sorry. I just got to get that off because I was like, you're really up here doing this for no fucking reason.
The great thing
I love my driver too, but like, okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna go up there and be like, yeah, Bubba's a top 5 driver in the field. Like, he's my favorite.
We'll expand on this more in a second, ladies and gentlemen. But let's cue the music. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. It's Jared, it's Art, it's Peyton, it's Bonte, and some random person that Carl invited to the show.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. The audio's not. I forgot to share the audio again. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Sorry, Art, you got to edit.
Yeah. Art,
one job. You have one job.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine.
You took it away. It's not. You got to put it back.
I got it. I know. I'm doing it right now.
You get snippy with me one more time.
That's what she said.
Okay, you gotta
20 years later.
You got to add it back to the thing. Okay, here we go. And some random guy Carl invited. old Lukewarm Robinson knew he was going to be here tonight. And he knew I was probably going to say something smart about him being here tonight after Lukewarm ain't been here for a while. Lukewarm's done this an episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, 4 episodes, 5 episodes, 6 episodes, 7 episodes, even 8 episodes. A lot has happened, and I'm back. But normally I would tell Art some unpleasant things because I know he said some unpleasant things in my absence. I'm going to give him a pass tonight. I just want to put a quick message out there. If you think a politician in an election year goes to a race for 10 laps as a fan, and you think that people of certain political leanings shouldn't watch certain sports because they believe that the sport is in their side and that it's not for everybody, then you've got your head somewhere that those jeans are supposed to fill out properly. And that's the bottom but negotiable line because Lukewarm Robinson said so. All right, we can stop that.
This is Carl's alter ego?
That's my alter ego, yeah.
That was the worst promo I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, you know what, Monte? You didn't do any of that.
That's fine. You still terrible. God. We'll work on it, bro. We'll work on it. You try your best.
Monte, I would love to see you for just in 10 minutes in Audacity try to add reverb to a recording. I would love to see that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, hey. So.
All right, well.
I will cut that. It's fine. It's a
Carl's
bit.
back.
It's a bit in progress.
God damn,
I just want to. That was unnecessary. Carl, you had to do that, man, like that.
I'm not coming back on cam. I can't. The crazy part is both of them been out just as long, and so they up here fighting each other. It don't make no sense.
Hey, as usual, baby. The vibes are back.
I just like how Bonte just like murdered him. You like you even say like, man, I like the effort. He's like, man, that was like, man.
Came back to the ether. Oh boy.
Hey, he'll be all right. Work on promo skills, buddy.
Well, I just want to let you guys know before we lose the plot. We have a special episode tomorrow. This should come out, well, Monday. Special episode. We'll update the time on all of our social media accounts. We're going to be recording an episode live, and I promise you, you do not want to miss this. So, Monday, the 14th, at a time disclosed very shortly, we're going to be recording live. You get the live vibes, live reacts, unfiltered. God help us, but it'll be worth it, I promise. Foreshadowing, if you are a Penske Racing fan, tune in. If you draw your allegiances to the 48 Ally Chevrolet driven by Alex Bowman, you might want to skip it. But either way, it's going to be great. Now with that, let's start the show. So it should be a short and sweet episode for y'all this week. It was only 2 series. Both of them lost their heads driving, so we shouldn't have too much to talk about here. But let's get into it. So the Xfinity race on yesterday was turning out to be a banger. You know, Parker Kligerman stole the lead from SVG. He was out. I was like, oh man, he's really about to walk off. He's gonna win and be like, nah, I'm going back to TV. The money too good. The NASCAR being NASCAR. Man. He was, I'd say, probably 4 thousandths away from the finish line. NASCAR said, no, you don't. Race control said, I. And Sam Mayer wins the draft for the QR250 yesterday. Let's talk about it. Tell me about your reaction to the Xfinity race. Peyton.
Oh, man. I had to go back and rewatch this ahead on. So here's the thing: when you get to be my age and you like to do things early in the morning, means you end up passing out right around 10 p.m. Had to debate between this and the Tennessee football game. Watching neither in the completely. Went back and rewatched it. You're absolutely spot on. Banger of a race. I'm going to highlight two things, and one is a very large thing that stuck out to me. One, the talent level of these drivers is so fascinating to watch compared to the Cup level. You can see where, when it comes to road courses, that someone like a Shane Van Gisbergen is heads leagues above these guys. Even on a bad day, he was still really, really good. And what I love the most, and you saw Jeff, I just forgot his last name. You heard the booth just absolutely just keep pointing it out, was just the way he kept exploiting the inside line on turn 7, that updated hairpin that they put in for this year's edition of the race. He just executed that turn masterfully, and it was just tremendously fun for him to watch him navigate that and just really show that talent gap. All that being said and done, overall, just a very sporty race. But yeah, the elephant in the room is NASCAR. Just, they got it right in terms of the end of the race by the book, but they managed to execute it in the worst way possible, and only a way that NASCAR can. It is infuriating. And the thing is, it's not even one of those things where you can say, like, oh, they had a better story because of the extended time, or it would have been better with it running under caution. That was absolutely should have been a caution. They should have thrown it as soon as they saw it, but instead, for some reason, there was some delay in communication. So now you've got this ridiculousness at the tail end where, yes, by like 100th of a second, the yellow light comes on as Parker Kligerman is seeing the white flag, which should have ended the race essentially. So by letter of law, NASCAR got it right, but they absolutely screwed everything up, ruined the race, ruined the story. You still would have had the Cinderella story of Parker Kligerman, or of someone making the playoffs who was well out of it, or advancing the next round who was well out of it. Just heartbreaking because, yeah, Kligerman seems like a nice enough guy. Like I said, this is his last full-time season. Would have been a great send-off, a great win to go and beat some of the best drivers in the series. And instead, we get this. And I can't even fault NASCAR, which is even more frustrating because that was a caution. It wasn't like, oh, they spotted some debris. That was a caution. So it just kind of frustrates me. Racing in general is just BS. These sort of stupid things can happen, and it just sucks. Good race, though.
All right.
That was the
Wait your turn.
Don't like that, Jared.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think, I came out of this race and I thought to myself, maybe I don't hate the Roval. Maybe I just hate the Cup car, because I really, really liked this race. It's just so refreshing to see, drivers battle and be able to make moves and be aggressive. And yeah, to Peyton's point, watching Shane continue to be a master at work. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the win, but coming home third, that was a bit of a heartbreak on a smaller scale. I know he's just kind of playing around at this point, I feel like, with the Xfinity series. Happy for Sam. Got it for Parker. I feel like Peyton said, he can't be mad at NASCAR, or I sure as hell can. I feel like the decision to throw the caution is fine, but it's the waiting that bothers me. And that is the main thing that this race will be remembered for, right? Sam having a clutch win, Parker having his heart broken, like that won't be the story that we look at in 2 years or so. And just the delay is so backbreakingly terrible that if you call it early on, we don't have any of these issues, because yes, it was a caution, but you should have called it sooner, right? And I think the argument that NASCAR makes that, oh, we didn't see it. Well, I don't believe you, but even if you are telling the truth, that's a problem. they showed on the broadcast caution earlier in the race, and they had to micro 10x zoom down to show me a piece of metal, the size of a plate or the size of a cup rather, but you don't see a whole car that's buried in the tire wall. I just feel like it's really unacceptable. And I've gone back and forth on here and privately about is it malice or is it incompetence? And I just feel like it's got to be just indifference at this point. Like they just don't care enough to be on the ball. So that's the tough part. But I will say, if anyone had to make that move out of the drivers that I would want to win, I would be Sam. I know this obviously means a lot for him, and I know this is a guy who's been frustrated that he hasn't made it to the Cup Series yet, right? I think he had some comments a while back that got some press about wishing that he was already in the Cup Series. So this was a big win for him, staying in the playoff hunt. It was huge, but it was just a really, really great race. I don't have any single highlight that I remember going, oh my God, this was so great, other than Almirola spinning at that hairpin turn. I always love to see that. But yeah, it was just a really, really solid race. And then it's funny, I watched that race, and then I came into tonight's race, the Cup race, and I fell asleep, spoiler, during the Cup race. So it just goes to show how much of a difference the exact same track, same configuration can have. So all in all, I mean, thought this was a really good race. I also want to shout out Brad Perez coming home 26, keeping the car in one piece, showing some really not aggressive, but really smart, creative driving, right? There was a huge stack up at the start finish line, and he just kind of found a little gap against the wall and just braked into it and didn't damage the car or anything. He was one of the only ones to come out of there fine. That was the wreck that I think killed Sheldon Creed's day. So I just want to shout out Brad. It's great to see those guys have a really good run and able to bring it home in one piece.
Now you may speak, Bonte.
Thank you. That was probably one of the most dog shit endings I've ever seen in my life. That was almost worse than Carl's Alter Ego promo. Holy hell. Hated for hated for Parker, because Parker should have won that race. That was heartbroken. NASCAR, what the hell are you doing at this point? Because you seem like you're making way too many mistakes this year. Like, Jesus Christ, don't be like Carl's promo. Anyways, though, the race was pretty decent. I enjoyed the race. One of my boys SVG to get the dub, but too many competitors going crazy. You know how the playoffs is, but other than that, it was pretty decent road race.
Carl.
Yeah. I don't have any real takes on it, to be honest with you. From what I saw, I'm happy that Sam Mayer won. It is really an anomaly as to why he's not in Cup or doesn't have any Cup plans lined up or anything like that. And I was happy that Ryan Williams, who's the one of the key graphics guys over at JRM, got to see one of his designs win in person, and I'm sure that's always a cool feeling. The rest of it, man, shout out Brad Perez. They brought the car home in one piece. I was thrilled with that. I wish Lionel loved somebody that wasn't last name Larson or Elliott, because I think that race version would be really cool to have. I think, that's like, either that or his Kansas car would be really cool. But
agreed, bro. Agreed.
I depending upon I kind of want to get into custom making just for that car. But anyway, I think the controversy, the centerpiece rather, for Saturday's race was around the finish. Man, I know people are mad about the officiating, and it's like, well, technically speaking, they got it right, but I think that I thought about that. I thought about Indy. I thought about Daytona. I thought about a lot of races, and I think the end all be all of this is they just need to bring back, ending your races under caution. I think that, if I think, there's no good, I guess, alphabet, but I think if there's 3 or 4 laps to go, okay, we'll get a green, white checkered. Anything less than that, between 2 to 1, the race is over with. It's done. Because it's just like, of all the times y'all have missed it, y'all managed to catch that right there. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It seemed like an overall bad move. And yeah, you know, man, you hate it for Kligerman. You know, I mean, he's going out and, you know, wants to win. He's helped build that program up a lot over the 48 and, you know, he done a lot of stuff together. And so, you know, like I said, you hate that too. But, yeah, I mean, I will say that sitting and watching footage from the Xfinity race has made me appreciate the Xfinity car so much more than I already do, and I already appreciate it a lot. Because, man, those Cup cars are abysmal to watch. I mean, there's just no sense of speed in them at all. I mean, the bodies are stiff; they don't roll, anything like that. So I did make note of that. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was, you know, it's cool, it's great. Yeah, I mean, I hope Mayer wins it all now, I guess. Is he in the playoffs still? Yes, right?
Yeah, he made the next round.
Yeah, okay, I thought so, yeah. So I hope he wins it all now. So
yeah, Art's boy.
So the updated playoff standings for Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier is 18 points above the cut line. Cole Custer is in second, 11 points above. Austin Hill is 9 points above. Chandler Smith is 8. Sam Mayer is 8 below. Jesse Love 12 below. AJ Allmendinger 18 below. Sammy Smith 19 below. And they will be joining Cup next week in Vegas Saturday night under the lights. Well, it won't be nighttime there, but it'll be an evening race for Xfinity. So that car also cooks on 1.5 miles. I'm interested to see if there's going to be another Riley Herbst beatdown or if anybody else is going to challenge him for the win there on Saturday. And then we move on to today's race. I shared similar sentiment to Art. It was a snoozer. So it came out this morning that they were going to change the track layout. They were going to impose track limits. And I said on the pod account, and a lot of people agreed with me. If you're going to do all that, just put it back on the oval. Give me the Bank of America 500. Since we didn't have a 600, let this car do its greatness. Everybody's local to North Carolina. We don't have a team in Denver anymore, so it wouldn't have been an issue to swap cars. Just put it back on the oval. But they didn't, and the results were Kyle Larson's beatdown on the field. Beatdown. There's no other way to say it. He beat the piss out of everybody. The Bell Peppers finished second. Willie B was third. Cindric was fourth. Chase was fifth. AJ Allmendinger was sixth. SVG was seventh. They finished in the same order as they did yesterday. But all AJ had to do was let Shane get by. He would have made the next round of playoffs. But we already passed Xfinity, so we're not going to talk about that. Drew got up, finished 8th. But finished 9th. And Ryan Blaney finished 10th. Thoughts on the Cup race today?
Yeah, man. It's hard to focus on the Cup race thing given the news that just came a little bit afterwards. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm so glad Kyle Larson can read the room with his little like comment about another boring Larson win. You're goddamn right. And so, I mean, you know, maybe go somewhere. Anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, the middle stage of the race was great. I feel like, you know, NASCAR calling an audible, changing the track layout, and then being inconsistent on who gets a corner cutting penalty was really just primo, just classic NASCAR. Honestly, I think that I've run out of love for the Roval. You know, it's cool and all. I'd rather just have the fall Charlotte race back. You know, there's this one old boy on YouTube that's uploading old Cup races in HD. I've been all over that. I miss the Bank of America 500 or 400, I guess. And yeah, man. I mean, you know, I think my biggest takeaway from the Cup race simply just was a drive by Reddick because, like I even said at one point in time, like, he's like 7 out. There's no way you're going to make 7 points in this car on a road course. I mean, you got to pass 8 cars to do that. And he was like, I don't know, 17th at the time or 8th or 16th, and then he finished 11th. So Joey fell back some. He gained some spots. I thought that was an amazing drive, considering the fact that he broke the car earlier in the day. Or he didn't break it. NASCAR broke the car over this stupid-ass chicane they got going on, or the curbs, whatever that deal is. I hate it for SVG and for AJ. There is a point in time in the day where both those cars were clashed to the field, and they just kind of faded away, and Larson kind of picked up where they left off, and that was really just kind of it. But I guess all in all, I am thankful that there wasn't a late race caution, despite how much I was screaming for one in the group chat, that there wasn't a late race caution, or that breeded like 2 more late race cautions, and we got somebody silly like, I don't know, man, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning back-to-back weeks because everybody wrecked out at the end. So I guess that was a plus side to it. So I don't know. We got 2 mile-and-a-halves next 2 weeks, so that'll be a nice change of pace because I just am unenthused about this car and track combination. But that's about it.
Peyton.
There are times where I think about in life where maybe life would just be more enjoyable if I just wasn't very intelligent, or maybe I'm not. And if I'm not, man, I'm really not doing this being unintelligent thing very well. And it seems like with NASCAR, at least, I managed to be relatively unintelligent and just turn my brain off because I actually enjoyed this. I thought it was okay. So here's my key notes that I've got written down. This is everything that NASCAR kind of prayed for. This is a coming together of everything that NASCAR, for good and actually mainly for worse, has been hoping for with that. So, okay, where do you start? You've got the playoffs, where you've reset everything, and now we've come to the end of this 3-race run. So now we've got the forced tension of an elimination round. So truthfully, 3 of the cars that were going to be eliminated were going to be eliminated as soon as they said start your engines. I mean, Briscoe, get the hell out. Suarez and the 2 car of Cindric was sporty, but he needed to win. So honestly, boys, fire up your engines, you're out. But you still had what was going to happen with that cut line. So we had interest there. That, in my opinion, made the race fascinating, watching Tyler Reddick make his way up through the field. Now, why are we mentioning Tyler Reddick? Well, because another thing that NASCAR has instituted, for better or worse in this instance, has spiced it up. The stage breaks and awarding points for, running well in these stages. So a driver like a Tyler Reddick, who is above the cut line but could really benefit from 10 extra points, has to make the business decision of, let's stay out, let's gather up these points, and let's get into the mess, the soup, as you'd like to call it, in the second stage. What looks like another thing that NASCAR has innovated or put in for this weekend to make it even more spicy is this wacky turn 7, which actually is not wacky. I think it's actually a good corner and brought in a lot of good racing. But he ended up being part of a pretty significant impact with his team owner, which coincidentally enough had to do with his teammate getting packed up or getting packed in by the 3 car. So interesting how all sides of 2311, from ownership to teammate, all just came together in some sort of weird cacophony. And so, yes, another NASCAR innovation, turn 7, becoming mayhem. That did bring in the mayhem and really damage the 45 car, making, once again, you've got the combination of the cutoff race, you've got drivers at the cut line, you've got the stage breaks being a factor, and then to top it all off, you've got the road course, which I think in general, given how hectic these restarts can be and how hectic the first couple laps can be in terms of passing, these cars not being as easy to place as they would on the oval, because I think they are not this clumsy if you race them on the oval. So you had a lot of tension there. So really, this is me finding some enjoyment in all of the stupid stuff that NASCAR has brought to the table, and me just eating up saying, oh, that's okay, I enjoyed it, it was fun. So yeah, I think the overall thing I've learned from this race is when it comes to my NASCAR enjoyment, honestly, I can just turn my brain off and just appreciate, oh, there's tension, man, look at the 45 having to race and hoping he catches the 22, and oh, I hope this happens, because in reality, I agree that was not a stupendous race. The 5 car ran away with it. And if this was the oval and this was just a random Sunday in October with just regular points, I don't know how much fun we're actually having, or whether we're having any fun at all, because there's not really any tension, no drama, nothing to speak of. So sadly, I think I'm part of the problem, because I'm slightly enjoying this, where I enjoyed this more than I would had this been under just regular non-stupid NASCAR in situation. So yeah, I'm the voice of dissent in this room again.
Nothing new. All right.
No, I give Peyton credit. If there are weeks where you can find enjoyment in it, I don't hold anything against you, or any fan for that matter. If you enjoy it, I think it all comes down to your personal, preference and your experience. So no, don't hold it against yourself that you enjoyed the race, or a race, maybe not this one in particular, rather. Yeah, I mean, I think this race will be remembered for one thing and one thing only. It'll be the disqualification, which we'll talk about more in a second. But what it should have been remembered for is the drive by Reddick, because that was a monster drive. We've talked about how hard it is to pass in this car. We've talked about how awful it is in traffic, how bad it runs on road courses. And he was 12 something points back and had to go make it up on speed. And yeah, you can make the argument he had just pitted and had tires, but tires ain't that big of an advantage. Tires don't make up that much time.
Yeah, no.
It's just such an impressive drive by that team. And even just to get to that point, they went through some serious work to get that car to at least be competitive with speed. And there was a point where they were telling him he had to pick it up because he was in danger of getting lapped, and he was 3 seconds off the pace, right? Like earlier on in the race after that wreck, which I don't think TV does that wreck justice, because that car went up in the air, and Tyler afterwards said that he thought he was going to flip forward. Like, that's how hard he hit. That looked really nasty. So anyway, for them to be able to make that comeback and to not give up, and all the cliches that you want to add to it, I just think it's a really, really impressive effort. And that was the main takeaway I had from the race. Honestly, like I said, I fell asleep in stage 3. So, for all the playoff hype and, the drama, the tension, whatever, even seeing like SVG, Allmendinger competing, and there's 2 guys that are really talented, I couldn't care for it. It felt like nothing was really happening for the most part. I mean, you get the occasional shipping, the Prime Day shipping, as Brad called it online. Or what did Peyton call it last week? Dump trucking in the corner.
I did.
Oh, my bad. Well, then, yeah, jump trucking though. Like, you got that every now and then, but for the most part, it wasn't doing it for me. Now, I do like the changes. I like the hairpin turn. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I expect it to be much more of a catastrophe than it turned out. So that was nice. The whole turtles thing, I don't really like. I don't like the idea of changing parts of the racetrack after the weekend has started. That feels weird to me. That doesn't feel right. And then there was some confusion about what's track cutting, what's course cutting, what isn't. You saw Bubba and Willie B had the rules for thee, not for me enforced early on, with Bubba getting a penalty and Willie B doing the exact same thing right behind him in the same camera shot. But yeah, no, I just think Larson made a snoozer, and I personally would love it if he just took his main character syndrome off to the cornfields and the dirt mazes and wherever else he goes to drive, because it ain't hitting for me. But it's still an impressive win. But yeah, I mean, all this is about is the playoffs. And, I give Joey some credit, right? He did everything he could. And I had said last week I thought he was going to try to sneak his way in on points, and it looked like he had. Up until Tyler just, as I said on Twitter, put the cape on. So, but they were able to get multiple stage points and run up front. Joey's not known for being a road course guy, so I give him a lot of credit as well for being able to get up there. And then Bubba will talk about 2311 corner, but yeah, I mean, all in all, Larson was first, Bell was second. I mean, if you put money on that going into the weekend, you probably didn't get a lot back because those would have been two favorites. So yeah, it was a race. I've realized now I don't hate the Roval. I hate the car at the Roval. So this race gave me some enlightenment and a nice Sunday afternoon nap. So I guess that's not a total loss.
Sounds like you agree with me.
No, I said that I'm off with you. No, you're good. I give you credit. I don't mind admitting when you're right. Bonte might be different. Him, if he tries to say that he was right, I'll never give him that. Never give him that win.
No. Actually, I agree with Peyton. I thought it was a pretty cool race.
Hey.
That was fun. Yeah, that stage 2 was fantastic. The battle between was Logano, Blaney, Allmendinger. Yeah, Allmendinger too. That was pretty exciting. Bub was in the mix too. It was pretty decent. Enjoy it. Got his points back. Boom, next round. Headed for Joey. We'll get to that in a second, but that was pretty smooth. But in that you got a Larson sweep. But yeah.
Did everybody go? Everybody shared?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Moving on to 2311 corner.
Wait. I'm sorry. Before you talk about 2011 corner, can you talk about the news that happened?
We'll talk about it after the 2311 corner.
Oh, okay.
There's a buildup.
Yeah.
Let me run the show.
Jared, can I say something before the 2311 corner?
Yes, Carl, you may.
Okay, so I did a promo for this. It wasn't a good promo. We're going to cut it out. But I do want to say real quick because Art had a tweet that kind of blew up a little bit, and I was reading the replies. And look, man, I'm going to tell you something. Somebody, I don't know how else to say this without calling some people stupid, but if you feel like somebody in an election year, somebody needing a favor, going to a race a month out from election day isn't political, and they leave 10 laps in, and you say they're a fan, I really want to understand how do you wear shirts when your head is up your ass? And look, here's the thing. I don't really care. It's just that like you people bitched and pissed and moaned all of 2019, all of 2021. 2021 because of one driver made the sport political. I like to tell you about politics into it. And it's like, all I want to hear from you, I don't care about these people coming to races because it's to be expected. But what I care about and what I want to hear from you is, if you can just say, I want only my politics present, I would love that because that's really what it is, right? It's not about like both sides or anything like that, because I know for a fact if Tim Walz went to Homestead, there is no way myself or Jarrett or Art or Jarrett or Peyton or Bonte or Kiana or whoever or could spin that and say, oh, they're going just as a fan. That is of all the dumb fallacies the legacy fan base has, that is the stupidest fucking one. And it's like, look, I don't even want to have the conversation about we should politics and sports, period. Just admit it and just say you don't want politics you don't agree with in the sport. That's all you got to say. Stop fucking lying to me. Anyway.
So let me jump in real quick because I want to add since we're going to talk about it, I'm going to add my 2 cents. So the funny thing is, if you go back and look at my tweet, I at no point said you can't have a politician at a race. I didn't even say you couldn't have a Republican at a race. I even said in the second tweet of the thread, if you agree with him, that's your business. you're fully entitled to believe whatever you want to believe, but you cannot pretend that this man showing up in a battleground state 3 weeks before an election isn't doing it to better the election. And I just had all of these smooth brain mouth breathers in my replies telling me, oh, why can't he be a fan? Why can't he be a fan? I just want to know what fan takes all the effort to go to a race, be on pit road to leave after lap 9. That's just what I want to know. Are they, if they're somehow listening to this, if you found this and you were on one of those tweets, please tweet to the show, DM me. My DMs are not locked. Ain't no one hit me up in the DMs, interestingly enough. So ain't nobody got the smoke in private, but please feel free, tell me what fans.
Maybe he was getting sleepy because there wasn't enough passing.
I mean, maybe. I just love it. And then of course you get into the gatekeeping of some people saying my favorite one was someone said, are you even a fan of NASCAR? Probably not. You just want to cause chaos. I said, brother, you walked right into my trap.
My brother in Christ. Here's my trap card.
So corny, bro.
And that's the last little bit I have to say about this, right? Is like somebody in Arch replies were like, or maybe it was our friend Tom Ingles, I don't remember who, but they were like, why would you root for a sport that you knew is like rooted in like a political ideology opposite to yours? Bro, I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, we know where the sport came from. We know the sport was like raised in the Johnny Rebel South. We know like a lot of those like people like would like show up in their Sunday best because they wore the white sheets Saturday night prior. I'm fully aware of the history of the South and NASCAR's role in it. I just like cars going fast in circles. And if somehow you feel the need to politicize that, then you have more insecurities than anybody else I can think of, because it's not that fucking serious. Anyway.
And now we move on.
There you
go. So another great drive by Bubba, finishing P9. I don't know why people are surprised that he's good at road courses. He's good at road courses. Just sometimes his performance gets overshadowed by others. No big deal. Happens to the best of us. But as previously mentioned, the driver of the day definitely goes to Tyler Reddick. I was very afraid for Billy Scott to bring him down and take tires after he took tires to fix the toe link that got bent, because like Carl mentioned, the reconfiguration to the race car, he thought that he was monster truck jumping and monster jam and tore the car all up, but they got it fixed. They took their time. They took the risk for tires, in which preluded him to driving to get the points that he needed to advance into the round of 8. More on that later. But I just think that I'm glad that they did pick, because if you saw yesterday, Kaulig chose to leave SVG out instead of pitting him for fresh rubber, and he lost the lead and lost the race, and his teammate bullied him into losing his spot in the playoffs. So glad that the gamble worked. And it stayed green so that Tyler could do what it does and advance to the round of 8. So Bubba P9, Tyler finishes P11, on to Vegas. Thoughts, feelings, opinions, concerns?
I'll go first. This just like what Jared said. People surprised that about Bubba road course performance. I'm not. What a drive! Like I said, this is probably the greatest drive of all time on the road course. Top 5 all day, top 10 all day. Even though he missed a corner and had a little bit of mistakes. Even though the first penalty was stupid on NASCAR part. Good day for him. Outstanding day, actually. That was fantastic. Real. That's redemption from last year's Roval. But yeah, that was pretty great. Looking forward to Las Vegas and Homestead, seeing what he do there. And hey, maybe Martinsville. He's been great there. For Tyler, like I said, probably one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen. Him was a below the color line, like back above the color line. Getting those spots back. And 9 being a round of 8. That was fantastic. So pretty wild and great day for the team. see what they do like the next couple races. Yeah.
Peyton?
Great weekend. I mean, okay, let's talk about it, fellas. So you can never, or you try not to read too much into practice, because practice can really tell you things that may not actually be there. So when we watched practice, which they ran a bunch of sessions for, by the way, bring that back, NASCAR. I want more practice. When I go to a track, I want there to be not a mere second that there isn't a loud race car assaulting my eardrums. I need on-track action constantly. I don't care if it's just them wasting gasoline. Give me that. Anywho, both 2311 cars fast off the truck. Drivers seem happy. Wasn't smoke and mirrors. Both of them qualified very well. Bubba didn't even, I was listening on the radio. I was going a long run. I'm not certain whether he had to even go back out and turn a lap in the first session, turn a second, essentially a banker lap after his first lap, because I know they did so with Joey Logano. So I don't even know if it was even in question him making the second round of qualifying. You'd love to see that. And then I will say, once again, with this car, track position means so much. I legitimately thought that the feed was broken just because there was no movement in the top 10. Bubba was just absolutely just frozen there in 8th position, which is fantastic. Slight error. Yeah, a little bit of track limits exceeded, had to serve that penalty, went back to 12. Managed the race well. I like the move in terms of hitting him before, or excuse me, midway through the second stage to set him up for a earlier pit stop in the third stage. Still allowed him to get some stage points, even though it's inconsequential. I just like to see his name in the top 10 whenever I can. So really thought it was a well-managed race. Another thing we can talk about in the 2311 corner here. I like the nice touch. It's a deep cut by Bubba. If we remember, history teaches us, where did things end for Bubba in the playoffs last year? It ended here with the 99 running above his skill level.
Talk about it.
Let's say just running above or doing things that his talent could not actually facilitate.
Speak on it.
So
last year,
just absolutely demolish and destroy the 23 days. It was a long shot last year. It was a long shot, but hey, things happen. So anyway, you fast forward to 2024, the old Choice Hotels car driven by Daniel Suarez. What do you know? He is in a scenario where he needs a fantastic day and bad things to happen, similar to what happened to the 23 car. Oh no. It turns out running side by side into one of the bus stop chicanes isn't a great idea. What a tough lesson for Daniel Suarez to have to learn. And what a surprise. It was the 23 car that helped him teach him that lesson. Go to hell. Also, great day for Tyler Reddick. Great recovery. Love the thought processes by Billy Scott. Just did a fantastic job. Really, really liked the move to put fresh tires on them. That takes guts, because that 22 car was slowly coming back. I was expecting there to be a situation where the whole TV was focused on, is Bubba going to have to move the 22 car in order for the 45 to make the playoffs? Didn't come to that. Billy Scott said, let me put the ball in my player's hand and give him fresh tires, let him work his way up. Really like that. And also a great job to get a fresh toe link on there. Really, really benefit. If you're going to break a toe link, do it at a road course where you've got all the time in the world to get that fix, get it lined up. Same thing we saw at the Chicago street course with the 23 crew. That saved his day. So overall, glad to see they found what they had sort of missed at some of the other road courses. In the words of the 45 themselves, they felt like they had lost something on road courses. Glad they found it again. Very fascinated to see. I am done assuming that past performance means results in the present. Vegas, very good track for Bubba Wallace. I'm not necessarily expecting that, but I'm hopeful.
Carl?
Yeah, man. I look, man, what can I say that I haven't already said, right? This just really solidifies just, my constant praise of the 23 that, they're getting better. I mean, in the road courses thing this year has been really frustrating because, there's been times, been a couple different times this year where I feel like they had a lot of pace, they had a lot of speed, and just nothing to show for it, right? Like I think about Chicago, like P30 to like 13 or something like that, or wherever he finished, just inside of the top 10, Circuit of the Americas really could have easily been a performance just like today. And I mean, to take a guy that, 3 years ago, we only ever, thought that he could run good at like plate tracks. And for him, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. For him to run good everywhere, I feel like, I look at, his performance at Bristol a few weeks ago. I wasn't here for that. Martinsville earlier this year, just a lot of places. I'm just like, man, he is really coming into his own. He's gaining a lot of confidence. I think fatherhood's going to help him out tremendously. I love that. But yeah, this is probably the greatest road course drive he's had in his career where he put it all together. And I love that for him. And, got away from a bit at the end there, but yeah, it's all love. I mean, Michael Jordan told him, walking down pit road at the end of the race, that you're becoming a hell of a road course racer. It made me smile really big because that means that the confidence is there, the belief is there in him. And they just got to keep building, man. That's it. And so that's great. But bigger than that, what a monster job done by Tyler Reddick. I cannot get over this drive enough. I think, this, and then I guess it was Darlington, the flu game, right? I think about those two moments, and I'm like, when we get to Phoenix and he's hoisting that trophy, I think those are going to be the moments that define it. I don't think just because he was in a bad spot going into this round, which is for a variety of reasons, mostly not of his own doing, right? I don't think that's really a reflection on him, but I think you look back at today and like, okay, this is the drive that got him the chance to really compete for a championship. Las Vegas is next week. Homestead the week after Martinsville. I think he's got a great chance to run great at all three tracks, and lock himself in there. So just immensely proud. I think about it all the time. I don't know. I think his growth would have been really stagnated over at RCR. I don't think that what we saw in 2022 is going to last. And I think that had he stayed in the 8 car, we would be saying, we would be talking about Tyler Reddick right now the same way that some people talk about, I don't know, man, Alex Bowman. And I'm not saying, and listen, no, listen to me. I'm not saying Alex Bowman is bad. I love Alex Bowman. Let me think of somebody. Austin Dillon, maybe. I don't know who we would compare him to, but I think if Reddick was still in the 8, I don't think that people would be so quick to say like, oh, he's so talented, he's championship caliber. Oh, because I remember when he went over there, people were like, "Oh, they're losing such a big talent out of Kurt." I mean, of course, Kurt left for reasons beyond of his control, right? But people were like, "Oh, Reddick's not going to be that big of an upgrade," blah blah blah. And he has really helped that program, and they have fast tracked it to become championship competitors in just a couple of years. So you love to see it, and yeah, man. I'm overall just so proud of this team. The last couple of weeks haven't been great. Kansas, from what I gathered, they both missed the setup on that. They couldn't figure out what was going on with the cars. Talladega was Talladega, So, we're kind of in that weird part of the year where it's just like you got to perform. There is no, there's on the next week. So I think both teams will. And, I don't think that we've seen the last win for 2311 for the year yet. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. I think one of those two cars is probably going to pull it out between now and then. I, of course, would love to see Bubba pull it out at Vegas or Homestead or even Martinsville, which a year ago, I don't know that I would have said he could have won Martinsville. So, but I would also love to see Reddick win one of those races, get to Phoenix, and then win Phoenix. So, yeah, I'm all smiles. You couldn't ask for a better weekend. Tyler Reddick in the top 10, top 5 would have been great too. consider what they ran early on and what they came back from. But all things considered, this is a great weekend. So, Arthur, go.
Okay, damn. Shit. All right, I will.
Here's my Arthur impression. I just want to say real quick that no, I'm
kidding.
Be careful now. I ain't Bonte.
Hey.
Don't piss me off.
Anyway.
Lay Art.
Got his ass.
Anyway, I think outside of a win, this was about as great a weekend as you could hope for 23-11. Denny making it, surviving. It was a little hairy for him for a while where he was below the cut line. Bubba having a great run. And then Tyler, like I mentioned earlier, having a championship-like drive and really finding a way to overcome the odds. The only thing that I would disagree with earlier said was, is this the most impressive drive for him at a road course? I still think Watkins Glen is more impressive for me because that one I don't think anyone expected, and that just kind of came out of nowhere. Now, Roval Bubba, in my mind, I'm expecting him to be somewhere in that 10 to 15, 16 range, which is all I really want. I don't need him to become Gen 6 Chase Elliott and just absolutely dominate the field. I just need him to be competitive because there's enough of these races now on the schedule where you got to be at least average at them. And he's improved so much. I think it's just really impressive. He's continuing to improve on his career numbers, right? So what's that now? 13 top 10s, I want to say, on the season, which is a career high. So yeah, no, if he can get a win, that's the only thing missing on the resume this year, honestly. They've run really well and they've run a lot better than their average finish, I think, at times. They just either would have bad luck or just completely miss the setup. So I'm really proud of them. I'm glad they didn't throw in the towel because I'm sure after missing the playoffs, it would have been really easy for them to just say, all right, screw it, we'll just try and help, be a chicane for anyone that Tyler needs. And that wasn't the case at all. Like they were top 10 on speed and on merit all race long, even overcoming that that course cutting penalty in stage one. So I'm really glad they got that top 10 because they absolutely earned it. It showed it in qualifying. So great day. I'm happy for them. And I'm going to pass it now to Peyton. And you know what? I'm going to do it nicely.
That's
Peyton,
that's kind of you because I already spoke, but I think I should deserve to speak again.
You already went.
Keep going, please.
No, I'm all out.
Yeah, he's all done because now we have to
13 top 10s though. That is
it's impressive.
So many top 10s, and I do kind of go back and think about what you said there, Arthur. It kind of doesn't mean anything because they can't consistently win, but I think it's time for the next segment.
It is time for the next segment. So we're going to touch on this briefly. Like I said, we got a special episode for y'all tomorrow. But right before we got into the collective studios, breaking news: the 48 was cheated up. The 48 got disqualified. The 48 is no longer a part of the chase for the NASCAR championship. Joey Logano, because of his finishing position in the race, gets elevated to spot 8 in the playoffs. They have taken the 48 back to the R&D center to tear apart and figured out what went on. So I watched the video where I forget the gentleman's name. I think his name's Bruce, one of the VPs of competition on that side of things. So he says, they put the top 5 through the checks. It was a cutoff race, so they put the last car that gets through on the cutoff through the checks. And it was, they do it. I'd say it's a substantial check, but they also give you great leeway. So to that point, the 48 was weighed. It was underweight. NASCAR allowed the team to fuel the car. NASCAR allowed the team to purge the water system, fill the water system back up in the car. NASCAR allowed them to check weight again. They even allowed them to turn the car on, make sure, all the fuel pumps and sumps and the backup box and all that stuff was packed to the gills just to give them some weight because, there's a little buffer that they get. However, the buffer was 17 pounds and the 48 was still underneath the variance. they was still light. So Alex Bowman, you're out of here. Get rid of bed rubbish. Welcome Joe Logano to the round of 8, and more to come on this. Hendrick has said their statement was they're going to review all the information available to them and see if they are going to appeal. 2 things. I'll get you guys' take on this before we move forward. So you all knows Hendrick's track record when it comes to appeals. If they win, are there 9 cars in the round of 8? Does Joey keep his spot if the 48 is found to be quote unquote legal? And then secondly, there was Alex hit one of the turtle bump, whatever, blah blah blah, hit the wall, parts and pieces were seen leaving the car. I know once upon a time in Mexico, Denny Hamlin lost a ballast. Denny Hamlin got a gigantic fine, a gigantic points penalty, and Gabe Hart was like gone for like a month. Should Hendrick just be like, nah, we good, and just like lose their opportunity being in the chase and just keep going? Or do they fight it and hope that they don't get slapped with a bigger fine? Peyton?
I mean, it's just one of those tough deals in racing. I mean, there was that footage of what looks like a big piece of ballast, like I said, potentially falling out. I don't know if that changes things because that is something that's supposed to be secured. So, I mean, when Bubba lost a piece of ballast in the pre-race, they absolutely destroyed his behind for that. I mean, you gotta.
When did that happen?
I want to. It was definitely one of the 2021 races where they didn't have qualifying. You couldn't even shake the car down. Because I remember all of us were very upset because, see, this is why we need to have a practice so you can at least make sure these things are attached. I'd have to look it up, but
I got you. Yeah,
2020
I can
race.
Remember when that happened.
Before the race, Bubba lost a pretty decent chunk of ballast, and I can't remember what the penalty was, but it made his day a lot tougher. If you're Hendrick,
it didn't matter. He was already 78th in points. It didn't matter.
Yeah, but if you're Hendrick, you gotta fight this.
Yeah,
it just sucks. I mean, this is the thing of big time auto racing. Things happen. It's a weird turnabout. I don't think anyone was out here clamoring like, "Oh man, I really wish Joe Logano was in the playoffs." Like, no one gives a damn about Joe Logano, or frankly, they don't really care that much about the 48 making the playoffs. It's not really a great story. So this is not NASCAR putting their thumb on the scales to usher in 2 drivers who one gets booed heavily and the other gets no response. So this is just, hey, this is a technical infringement. It's not a judgment call. It sucks. I hate that for you. You're boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I looked at my phone. I thought it was fake. I'm like, no way. No, it's real. I'm like, yo, what? We never seen this before. When a playoff driver gets eliminated.
Yeah.
After. It still blows my mind that has happened. Hendrick. That's on y'all. But if HMS and them winning this appeal, I wonder how this gonna play out. If Joey don't keep his spot, or they don't make it. I don't know. But y'all get what I'm saying though. This is crazy, man. Go ahead.
I mean, to the point of the appeal. Right, I think NASCAR needs to fight this, and there are people that are like, if it was tungsten unsecured, then that's a penalty. Okay, well, I don't think that when they put the tungsten in place, there's not enough security in the world that if the car suddenly becomes gravedigger, it'll keep it in there, right? Like this is NASCAR's change. Put the cars in a situation it could have happened to anybody. And I am not even on the side of Hendrick more often. Alex Bowman is my only dog in that fight. But they need to fight this all the way through to the very end. Unless if it is tungsten, if it is ballast, and say, this is not our fault. You guys made these changes. We did not bring these cars prepared for these changes. We did not know what was going to happen here. And they just need to make it the round of 9 the round of 9 and just add both of them back in like they did in 2013 when all of a sudden we had 13 guys in the chase instead of 12. It's unfair. Alex Bowman has had a fantastic playoff. He's had post Chicago. He's had a great year. It's unfair to them. They did what they needed to do today, right? They ran a good race. I mean, off this round, and for them to get disqualified over a certain, if the clip that we've all seen is where that weight got dropped or whatever, if they can pinpoint that, then yeah, they need to fight this, and NASCAR should overturn it because. What are we doing here? I mean, it's not like they were just riding around and it fell out. I mean, all 4 tires were off the ground. I don't know, man. What are we doing here? I don't know. Of course, this is the same NASCAR who earlier in the day didn't penalize William Byron for doing the exact same thing that Wallace did. So I guess they're like, well, you got your one mulligan out of us today, so you're going to get you somewhere. I don't know, man. Can they peel back the wrap on the 48 and all of a sudden it's a 5 car and then just suspend him? I don't know. I'm annoyed, I guess, and I'm excited to see how it plays out, I guess. But yeah, so.
Oh yeah, agreed, bro. And then they don't touch up what Carl said. Like Bowman was pretty consistent in the postseason. So the fact that this happened, it hate it for the 48 team. Like I said, if they win this appeal, I wouldn't be surprised because that's kind of unfair.
What?
Arthur,
what are you gonna say, Jared?
You go ahead.
I just can't believe my ears. You feel bad for Alex Bowman? Do you not remember the Chicago street race?
Yeah, I absolutely 100%, 100%. Right? I get what you're saying. I do for sure.
Yeah,
and man, look, bro.
All I'm saying is, if there's a plus
minus, thank you, Carl.
There's a pros and a cons list,
right?
And I'm talking about the egregious, the actions detrimental that Alex Bowman has done to Bubba Wallace. On the contrary, that Bubba Wallace has done to Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman is a horrible human being. He deserves what he got. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he got caught. Stop cheating. Win straight up.
Chicago was just payback for the time that Bubba Wallace almost committed homicide and splashed water in Alex Bowman's face.
Oh yeah,
that was waterboarding.
That was waterboarding.
Waterboard that man on pit road. Y'all ain't see it.
Oh my god!
You need to leave.
Man. Oh my god! It is never not funny when people try to frame that as some just 79 Daytona 500 Kelly Yarborough beating Donnie Allison's ass with a helmet-esque move. Dude, come on, man.
What's that meme when you prayed on somebody's downfall and it happens? Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about the Jamaica tire meme? I'm sleeping.
I want to hear Alex take on this.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just don't feel like I have any sympathy, honestly, for Alex. And it's not because I'm an Alex hater. I actually like him. I've said on the show before, I like his very dry, sarcastic personality. I love the stuff he does with animals. Of the HMS drivers, he's my favorite of them. But I don't look at this guy and think this is some driver that's so deserving of the benefit of the doubt that he gets my sympathy. Somebody on here mentions his performance since Chicago. I'm looking at it right now. There's been 12 races counted a day since Chicago. He's had 4 top 10s and 4 finishes worse than 20th. Okay. They're not really making the argument. He's really been, if we want to be honest, he's been a stage points merchant. That's the only reason why he's been so consistently above the cut line. I feel like, excuse me, my turn. I'll let you have your turn. Thank you. I feel like, if you cheat it, because I know if the roles were reversed and it was 23 car that was found 17 pounds underweight, there would be cries from on high for the death penalty for that team and for them to be suspended and kicked out for the rest of the race. So I just don't have any sympathy, honestly. I don't care. Like, if 17 pounds is not, a little bit of rubber. This isn't F1 where he didn't, scrub the tires on the way on the cool down lap. Like, that's a big chunk of weight. And you know what? If you can make the argument that it was from damage, then make the argument. But the fact is, they let you fill the car back up with gas, which you didn't have at the end of the race when they first checked it. They let you fill it back up with water, which you didn't have at the end of the race, and you were still short. So in reality, you were probably more than 17 pounds under, because the car, when it first got weighed, wasn't at a full tank. So I don't have any sympathy. Like, did it happen? Sure. But you know what? That's tough luck, buddy. Like, that's racing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like this is some crime where this dude was dominant and then all of a sudden he had a bad round and this is what took him out of it. Like, no, he had one good race and just chalked up on stage points, Like, I don't feel bad for him at all. Okay. I think if they were somehow to win the appeal, I don't know if they'd add Joey back. I feel like they probably would just reverse it, honestly. I feel like that opens more worms.
No, they would have to leave both in.
Okay. I don't think they would, because it'd be one thing if the appeal was on like a Wednesday, and so this 22 team has spent 3 days prepping and assuming and making calls, assuming they were going to be in a playoff race, and all of a sudden now it's taken away from them. You would have had not even 24 hours. Let's assume the call comes out by 5 p.m. tomorrow, Monday afternoon. You've had less than 24 hours of thinking you're in the playoff race. Don't act to me like it's some big tragedy. Like, you've been planning your whole season around this. Like, you didn't know at the end of the race that you were going to be here. So, like, I don't feel bad if you're like, oh, we had our sponsors and this and that. It's like, no, the race ended. You were giving sad interviews and putting up the boo-boo face graphics on your socials. Like, I don't have it. I don't have any sympathy for any of these parties involved. Like, it happens. Like, 17 pounds is a lot. Like, go lift the 17 pounds of weight, someone, and tell me how that accidentally falls off a race car. And you know what? If it happened because of damage, tough shit. I watched Jeff Gordon get concrete cave in his nose in Martinsville from the track, and they told him, eat shit, deal with it, and he couldn't fix it. So
yeah, I
don't care. The precedent has been made. Don't hit the curb and send yourself on a launching pad. So no, I don't feel bad.
Whoa, last I'm gonna say is what it is.
So first of all, regarding looking at his finishes, I was told that you guys weren't going to fact check. But okay, look, man. What I'm saying, Art, let's remove Chicago. Let's remove the fact that he has not run as good as I have seen through rose-tinted glasses. Because admittedly,
you gotta save some. Don't give it all away.
No, I'm not. Because admittedly, right, I'm not usually available on race day, so I have only seen the after effects. I have only seen the Monday morning stats, right? So like the standings, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, Alex is doing pretty good. But you're telling me that this is probably wildly situational, that still NASCAR should hold the 48 accountable, because under any other circumstance, the 48 makes tech. If they don't go through that corner the wrong time, one time, the car meets tech. And you're telling me that that NASCAR shouldn't be held accountable in the smallest amount for that?
I mean, did NASCAR take the wheel from him and turn it at the angle to launch it?
But I mean, that could have happened. It could have happened to Tyler Reddick. What if it would have happened?
It didn't, because Tyler Reddick was skilled enough to not do that.
17 pounds that we're talking about.
If you sit here and told me that he was 0.5 pounds off, or even a pound off,
it passes,
or maybe even 2 pounds over, like some kind of reasonable window, then I'd be like, okay, come on, like like you're really splitting hairs here. Like, something could have knocked loose, like he could have, had extra water bottle in the car or whatever. Like, that's, if it's a little bit, then like I would be on your side. But you've clearly, this is the case where you got the speeding ticket and you were doing 75 in like a 35. Like, you blew the margins by so far that I give you zero benefit of the doubt. Like, I do not feel any pity for you. Like, unless they can make an argument and show me. And if it's the ballast argument, like, Peyton mentioned, that's worse. That's
yeah,
losing ballast is worse.
Yeah, so the only way I could see that, I guess, the way that I feel that Hendrick should be held accountable, the 48 should be held accountable, is if whatever came off the car, because multiple cars had the same thing happen to them today, right? And they didn't lose 17 pounds. So the only thing I can say is that however Hendrick has those cars built, whatever differences are in whatever is what led to that part failing and those parts coming off the car, then I guess they do deserve the penalty in that regard. I'm just not looking at it through the idea of like this was an intentional thing, and I think some people are, and I don't think that's fair to say that it is.
Look, intention doesn't matter to me in this case.
Right,
the law is the law, and we have to follow it.
So yeah, like, and to Arch's point, I'm glad that I did more research before coming on here, because if it was like, oh, they just got disqualified and there was no like further explanation as to why, then yeah, I'd be a little skeptical and I'd feel bad. But after the competition director broke down and said, I let you fuel the car, I let you put water back in it, I let you make sure the backup boxes were done, there's a variance of 17 pounds and you were still under with a fully packed fuel car. Nah, bro. You earn that.
Because let's be honest, the way, like, how big is a fuel cell? 20 pounds, 22 pounds?
Something like that.
Okay, so let's assume that fuel cell was at least half empty at the end of the race, which I think we can easily assume it was way more. But for the sense of argument, let's say it was half empty. That's another 10, 11 pounds you're under. And they still let you feel it up. So
if a gallon of water is 8 pounds,
yeah,
you cheated.
7 pounds, yeah,
bro. Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way.
Right.
Like, you cheated, and like, and the sad part is you cheated and ran like ass because you finished 22nd. You didn't even run well.
Yeah, okay.
Well, like, you didn't even run well. That's what that bad. If you're gonna cheat, look. If I was a driver, this is the one thing I would tell my crew chief.
Speak on it.
One, don't tell me what you're about to do, because I want plausible deniability when I go to the media that I don't know nothing about nothing.
Right.
But two, if you're gonna cheat, it better fucking work, man. You better give me a rocket ship.
Okay.
I don't want to be a mid-pack car and find out I'm illegal.
So okay, but it's not out of pocket for me to say that whatever went wrong in the 48 could have went wrong in the 24, the 9, or the 5, which means, like, I guess you could say that they were all cheating.
And they didn't get caught.
I guess they didn't get caught.
Because the 5 went through tech.
Yeah,
but the
5 didn't also. The 5 didn't go on a roller coaster.
Yeah, there's a 17 pound.
Well, you know what? Then that's a skill check that he didn't pass. That's his fault.
Okay, that's fine. Exactly. That's whatever. I just
blame the dog.
I said my piece on it.
I hear you. I hear you. I understand the argument.
17 pounds, baby.
I'm not saying you're wrong for it, but I'm just saying I want you to go grab 17 pounds in one hand.
That's Chase Briscoe's twins missing from the car. That's 17 pounds.
I want you next time you walk Hamilton, find a 17 pound. Take a scale with you. Go find a 17 pound dog at that.
Hamilton weighs about 20 pounds. So
all right, go lift that dog with one hand. You tell me how that much weight rattled loose.
Facts.
And come on, because you know what? Also, because this whole car is sealed up, right?
It's supposed to be.
The whole bottom of the car is sealed up. So where'd it coming from?
Well, here I'll spin it like this, and I'll leave it at this. This is just long time coming karma from when they got busted for those whatever parts they had that they killed colleague over, and they let Hendrick off.
They let Hendrick off.
So this is the only way I can spin it so I can sleep at night, and so thus I will say that.
Cool.
So,
well, let's do it with that. Let's move on to Lights Too Bright. Lights Too Bright is brought to you by our beautiful partners over at Nectar Sunglasses. Use our promo code VictoryLaneVibes. Save 15% off your sunnies. It's a bright week this week, baby. Make sure you get them pretty sunglasses. Show us what you got. Tell us what you ordered. And support the people that support us to help support you. NectarSunglasses.com. VictoryLaneVibes is the promo code. 15% off your glasses. Without further ado, my pick, obviously, I was gonna say Carson Hocevar before post race, but now it's the crew of the 48. I don't pass blame to Alex Bowman. Yeah, he hit the bump, but the car left the shop cheated, and the shop right down the street. I don't know how you lost.
It literally
over
was across
17
the street.
pounds to and fro, but you cheated, and your car did the walk of shame back down the street to the R&D center. So, shout out to 48 team. You are my lights too bright.
My lights too bright this week. Coil of Joy. There you go.
I forgot all about that.
He done nothing wrong. I just want to get lights too bright for blowing the engine. There you go.
Yeah, he missed his shift.
Up
his fault. Have the money shift anymore. That's the sad part.
Like Sam Mayer did, but Sam Mayer won the race when he missed his shift. I didn't say that. I'm sorry.
Skill issue.
Peyton, who's your lights too bright?
Sorry about that. I was looking at some of the sunglasses on Nectar again. I tell you what, good stuff. Tell you what, my light's too bright. It's pretty simple. I was beating them up last episode, and I'm going to beat them up some more. Tell you what, day started off so well for Legacy Motor Club. One of their co-owners just having a fantastic day, really rubbing elbows with noted NASCAR enthusiast, a state senator from a key state, noted NASCAR enthusiast, getting his picture taken with the king. The king was beaming, so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Great day, promise in the air, surrounded by his favorite people, NASCAR fans who happen to be senators and known people. They're just there as fans, of course. And my goodness, his cars were wrecking balls. And what made it so stupendous was they both DNF. And they also got involved in the same damn accident. That is beautiful. I tell you what, in shooting, there is accuracy and then there is consistency. So consistency meaning, hey, your groups of your shots, beautiful, tight spacing. You like that. Accuracy can be good too as well. That's hitting where you're aiming, but it might also have some variance. Their consistency, their grouping, fantastic. Dead at the freaking bottom of the stack. Both going out in the same accident, both DNFing. Lights too bright for that team. Luckily, short drive home for the wreckers.
Woof. Carl.
What's popping?
Your lights too bright.
You want to take a lap and let's come back to you?
I mean, I hate all of them. I hate the whole sport of NASCAR. I don't know. Corey, I've been distracted the last week, man. I haven't paid attention. Yeah, take a lap. I'll come back. I'll think of somebody.
All right, Art. Who's your lights too bright?
All right, I'm gonna go with the name that I don't think we've ever talked about on this show before. But if what Twitter tells me is correct, the gentleman's name is Kevin Walter, who is, if you don't know, and hopefully I'm right, is Shane Van Gisbergen's crew chief in Xfinity. My guy, you left him out there on them old ass tires to run 12 laps. That's a long time. I think that's the only thing that kept Shane, in my opinion, from winning Saturday's Xfinity race, which I was really hoping for. Shout out Shane getting double poles. I want to know when's the last time a driver, if ever, got double poles in the same day. That'd be a fun fact. But yeah, I think, there's the quote from, I can't remember if it was Denny or Kevin Harvick, but they talk about at the end of the race, they want to be on offense. They're like, whatever you got to do, like put me in the position where I can be on offense and attack and not having to defend. And you took the best attacker in the field and you put him on defense for 12 laps trying to get a win when you had to win. It's just really bad crew chiefing. That was so frustrating because he clearly had a car that was good. I mean, he was dive bombing every time into that calamity corner and getting spots. And I just have zero doubt that they wouldn't have been able to drive back up through the field if they had pitted with everyone else, even if they were a little bit further behind in the track position. So, Kevin, man, you got one of the greatest drivers in the world. Don't play scared. Like, give him the ball and get out the way. So that's my lights too bright.
Carl,
man, I really don't have one.
Maybe you don't have it. That's fine. Yeah, I appreciate your
yeah,
honesty.
man. I mean, yeah, I don't have one. I mean, I guess my lights too bright would go to Richard Childress for doing the same thing he did during the 600. It is kind of a bad look for you to sit there and you to cry about the charter agreement. I got sponsors and I got contracts I got to meet, blah, blah, blah. And then, you go and you do that, I guess. I don't know, man. I just, I mean, I guess in reality, Lights Too Bright is probably going to end up going to the 48 team if Hendrick determines that the reason that part failed was because of how the car was constructed or something they did or whatever the case may be. Because if it wasn't just a freak accident, that is an egregious fuck up. I mean, you're talking that's money. You're talking a lot of stuff. And man. So my Lights Right was probably the 48 crew.
Open Mike, said it once, I said it again. We got something real special for you tomorrow. You not gonna want to miss this. It's real special. Real special. That's really it, honestly. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think we got a voicemail.
Oh, yeah. We gotta play the call. Oh. We got to call on the hotline.
Oh, damn. What, did you have something, Peyton? My bad.
Right, just cut everybody off.
Well, let's play the call first. It might be something worth talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, what's up, Victory Lane Vibe? It's your guy, BJ Morgan here. Been a minute since I called in. I'm going to be real short and sweet. Just a quick congratulations to them 2311 guys. Well, hats off to them. The Rev Bubba Wallace Rev Bubba Wallace road course top 10 today at the Roval, and my guy Tyler Reddick with a clutch drive to get himself back to keep his playoff championship hopes alive. That was clutch. What he did with that, charging back up there to at least get the points that he needed. I won't touch them other shenanigans and foolishness that went on Saturday. I know plenty of people are going to lay it down and tear that up. A new one. I know you guys can do that too. So without much ado, one love, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Always love him, BJ. Calls in and gives his insight. Appreciate you, big dog. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Wreckfest that wasn't on PlayStation or Xbox Saturday, but it is what it is. Was what it was. Peyton, you had something for open mic?
I did, and it's even racing related, except a lot slower. So, as some of y'all may know, I like a lot of kinds of racing, including racing that you actually have to do, a la running. And this weekend, I'm certain Art knows as well because he is a avid runner. It was the Chicago Marathon, one of the biggest major races. And shout out to Ruth Chepngetich from Kenya, where she absolutely demolished the women's world record in the marathon. So it looks like the previous world record was 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 53 seconds. She nearly beat that by about 2 minutes, coming in at 2:09, 56 seconds, which, given the level of performance that these ladies and these athletes are at, is a huge swing. Also, as well, she is the queen of Chicago. Just looking at some of her results, she won it in, looks like, 2022, 23. She's at least run this about 3 or 4 times. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, she's won 2021, 2022, and 2024 Chicago. So yeah, they're going to have to build a statue of that lady, make her her own specialty pizza. They need to crown this woman because, yeah, she did some big stuff today. So, yeah, that is wildly fast.
Yeah, I think just beating a world record, but breaking a world record by 2 minutes at that level, I mean, that's like winning a race by like 5 laps or something in modern day NASCAR. Like it's so unheard of, but she that fast. She about it. Built different.
Really is.
Did she have those cheated up Nikes on?
Everyone has those.
Yeah, that's standard issue at that level.
Yeah.
I got a pair of similar.
Me too.
My wife's like, she's like, you got your cheated up shoes. I'm like, I love how much you know NASCAR. I'm like, yeah, these are my cheated up shoes.
Whatever you got to do to get the finish you deserve, right?
And I might have to drop 17 pounds of ballast on the course mid-race too. We'll see.
Oh, all right. Moving on. Please.
Whoa.
Get us out of here.
All right. Well, appreciate y'all for listening. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to get your sunglasses from Nectar. Be sure you tune in to socials tomorrow. We're going to confer as a group, get a start time, and we'll be going live. Content, you'll find out what we talk about, but we'll be live, our first live episode. I'm really excited because it's not like Twitter Spaces. We live. So we'll see you tomorrow. With that, play the music.